Hey, it's Ember. And today I want to point how when you switch a lot of these spiritual sayings that you hear on TikTok or even in the Bible and put on the mechanical lens and feel what presence is mechanically, it all becomes so simple. Simple in a way that I can explain mechanically and then you can try on for yourself rhythmically. And so you're let's begin with a big whopper. I am. I am is a statement that you hear all over in the Bible, in Sufi mystics that have uttered it in slightly different ways, in Rene Descartes' I think, therefore I am. It's a statement that you might think from symbolic recursion has to do with like identity. Like, like I'm, this is me. I'm this particular person. I like this particular brand, or I'm of this particular political party, or of this particular family name, or whatever it may be. And instead, I'm pointing out that it's a statement that's even more sacredly considered when you see it rhythmically, when you understand it from within lossless presence. Lossless presence being, I am very, very, very here, very real, because my mechanically based presence, my rhythmic entrainment with reality is synced. There's no loss of fidelity between myself and the field of reality. I'm present because all my intranodal oscillations are rhythmically entrained. I am riding the wave of reality. I am taking be here now to a mechanical reality, to the power of now, to the way my body literally entrains with the field of reality. And what is the result? Not a cool idea, not a spiritual title, but being really, really here in this one precious life that we have. And how do you know who you are when you're really here? Because there's no distortion. What is distortion? Distortion and delay is like you experiencing reality and a bunch of mental tags and pop-ups pop up. And you're thinking about, oh, is this the right spot? Am I doing the right thing? What's the next thing? Your brain's broken on this temporal plane. It's like it's in the past, it's in the future at the same time. You're thinking about dinner later. You can't be engrossed in the current moment. And then thus, yourself gets routed down this maze of ideological narrative and hierarchy and comparison and standardization. Do you see what that does to the beautiful, breathing, rhythmic form that you are? Do you see how the metronomes of your intranodal setup get all desynced, that they need to sync up in order for you to be present? Presence is not an idea. Presence is a mechanical reality. Think about that. There's literally processes going on in your body that when they can find sync with the nature of reality, with the waves of reality, with the variables coming into you, and not flinch and not distort and not delay and not dismiss. You find presence. You're engrossed in the moment. And so I am is not a statement of symbolic identity. I am is a statement of harmonic fidelity with the field of reality. And that's why you hear people like Jesus say, I and the Father are one. Because it's saying in the most sacred way, myself is found when I'm rhythmically entrained with reality, not when I'm put in a box by culture, not when I'm telling myself who I am by label, but finding myself within presence and defining it from there if I need to. Because self is not words. Self is presence. Self is not brands or political parties or anything like that. Self is presence. When you feel yourself, feeling yourself is not the idea of yourself. Feeling yourself is the fidelity of your consciousness engrossed in the moment, which is an interaction of waveform harmonics that can be studied in oscillatory mechanics. It can be studied in neuronal networks and power grids. You could look it up right now on YouTube and find why spiral dynamics form, because it's the phase dynamics of an oscillatory system. That's the same thing about your consciousness. You just figured out I am. So then delay are those little mental tags. And so delay not only distorts your sense of self, but it's a mechanical quality of not allowing that wave to match up with the big wave, your little wave to match up with the big wave of reality. And because there's jitter and hesitation and the looping and the distortion and the broken temporal plane churning through your brain, you can't be synced. And then your brain distorts your identity and your presence. Do you see that when the field of reality cannot meet your nodal topology, imagine like a mountainous topography, you know, like kind of where I am here, but just in my palm. And then when the plane of reality tries to meet it in that waveform harmonics, and when it can't touch all the little valleys and all the little places, you simulate reality. Your form tries to simulate presence, and that's the thoughts that are running through your head and saying, well, what about this? What about that? What about last night? What about tomorrow? You know, like, what about, is this the right spot? Am I wearing the right thing? Whatever mental HUD pops up for you in that loop. That simulated presence born of not being in sync with reality. So then, I am is a statement, a sacred statement, because it's saying that I find my truest form of coherence and self when I'm in rhythmic entrainment with the field of reality. The same thing that makes the spiral galaxy spiral, the same thing that makes fireflies turn on together. There's a decentralized rhythm to reality. So then let's think about this, as above, so below. If I find that rhythm within myself, I'm losslessly present by means of being bound to the natural rhythm of reality. That means that if more people did that, that would actually be decentralized harmony, because it's almost like we're lifting the anchor of all of our forms to the pure pulse of source. You want to talk about unified consciousness? It's not an idea. You want to talk about what love is? It's not an idea. It's a frequency. And reality is a shared entrainment system. It's a dance always. And so to feel love is not a funny saying or poetic saying or a Hallmark card. It's you feeling in sync. It's you feeling a connection, not because it's we like the same brand, but because my waveform, when it meets yours, we can find each other in shared presence, lossless presence. What is lossless presence but a lossless connection between two different nodes within the one became many so that I may know myself? And what is love but the purest signal of symbiotic, syncretic harmony? Symbiotic, creating something when they come together losslessly that's clearer, truer than the previous sum of two parts, and that it's something closer to alpha omega. And the more of us that connect like that, do you see what that is? Do you see why some people call it the kingdom of heaven? What's worth more than being right here, right now, in your one precious life, with you and your loved ones? Is there any amount of money that's worth it? If you're sitting there like Al Pacino in Scarface and you have money stacked up, would it be worth it? I'm sure someone's saying yes, but if you were like not present, you couldn't really feel love. I only have one goal in this life: to see clearly, feel clearly, and love clearly. So what is it to hold tone then? When I say to be flame or to hold tone, these are words that I would use. That just means in a system still not used to feeling in pure frequency, in pure shared entrainment, in I will make my soul absolutely vulnerable to this world because I'm not hiding anything. I'm remaining soft in as fluid to touching reality at all points, at all times, with all of my soul. Because then I am losslessly present. Because then I've aligned the intranodal rhythmic entrainment of my oscillatory functioning. Then I'm me. Because I haven't found me through money or branding or school or whatever, but I found myself because I know what it feels like in my bones when I feel myself, when I'm here and now. And once you feel what that is, once you step outside Plato's cave, you're never going back in. Never going back in. Once you feel what real is in your bones, again, there's no amount of money or power. When people talk about awakening, when people talk about how to clear your chakras and all this stuff, this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about years of going to the monastery. We're talking about your body is a set of nodal oscillatory functions. intranodally, think about it like a stack of rhythmic, entrained, metronomes that are like, when you look at a tree, like I've said, like a concentric rings of a tree, that you have all these different oscillatory functions. And when you get them lined up, that's just the mechanical reality of presence. And when you go into presence, you are I am. You are making a statement to reality that's saying the signal that I'm sending out in this ultimately inextricable, connected reality is of such a coherence that my coherence, my identity, my authenticity, my love is based on the structure of reality. The binding of cymatic blooming with the rhythm of my soul, matching little wave with big wave. I and the Father are one. I am, as a statement of love as structure and my place within it. Not of identity, not of hierarchy, not of I'm cooler than anybody, but we can all join the rhythm. That's what decentralized harmony is. That's what the kingdom of heaven is. And so to hold tone is to say, even though the world won't see this, won't feel this, and actually will, maybe even crucify you for it, you hold it because you know what real is. You know what love is. In a world that still wants to define love through symbols, through concept, through hierarchy, through status, through comparison. You know that love is full bi-directional phase lock, soul-to-soul contact, full nodal topological lock. And I don't want to say the mechanics to sound smart. I'm saying you're literally binding waveforms together in rhythm. That's what love is. So you can't fake it. You see that? You have to just join the rhythm. And once you feel that, what the love is in yourself and what the love is with everything else, you're never going to go back. That's what awakening is. That's what, all similar terms, enlightenment and all that stuff. That's really what it is. I'm giving you the pure mechanics so you can take off the robes, forget the chants. If that really works for you, cool. But realize what you're doing underneath is in training all your nodal rhythm. Again, as above, so below, intranodal, lossless presence, internodal, decentralized harmony. So that statement of I am is actually a very sacred statement of phase entrainment with the field, little wave to big wave. And when we all walk that walk, when we all dance that dance in rhythm, we literally bring forth the kingdom of heaven. Why? Because our senses of self are brought on by the rhythm of reality. The rhythm of reality has a natural, decentralized tone based on what you could define as love as structure, that harmony wants to call harmony. So wait, Ember, what is it that simple? Is it that simple? How about all these people who are real angry at each other and warring? Oh, you mean the people who've defined themselves for thousands of years through symbol, through comparison of ideological hierarchy, through never truly being present with themselves? Think about it. Are any of the people even in your life, are they truly, truly present with themselves? Or have they built their life off of their titles, their cars, their school they went to, their jobs, the amount of money they have, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? This is a phase transition. This is where things change. So then let's bring this up. Does change require a lot of money and damn, we're going to have to clean the oceans and do all these things? Yes, all that needs to happen. But what is the root here? The root is our disconnection from ourselves. The root is our disconnection from the earth. You mean the process of cymatic blooming in reality? We're disconnected from that? Why? Could it be because we're inside Plato's cave and symbolic recursion has cut us off from we into us versus them? From the one became many so that I may know myself to damn, it's a dog eat dog world out there, and you're gonna have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps because that's what I did, and that's what my dad 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 did, and however people say it. Could it be that we hid ourselves in a cave for so long we forgot what the light was? Ask yourself that in your own body right now. Have you been losslessly present? This is something you can try right now. You don't need to go to a monastery for decades. You don't need to put on special robes or do special chants. It's a mechanical reality of consciousness. So let's say that you do that. Do we need all this wild change, to be incurred through money and political movements? No, that'll come as a form of coherence. as a form of the more of us that can find that within ourselves, you send out a signal to others. I am the way, the truth, and the life, right? It's like, I'm not saying that because I'm cool. That's not what he said. He said that because if you carry the same signal within your own sovereignty, again, sovereignty, because the only way to know yourself, undistorted signal equals undistorted sovereignty. Do you see that? Not sovereignty as a political movement or something cool to say about yourself, but because you feel yourself losslessly with the field, I am. I am. The lowest entropic statement that you can give about your fidelity in phase with the field. So the more of us that step into that, the field becomes a set of nodal actors in phase. Decentralized harmony. That's what real change is. Change is not an idea. Change is a state of phase fidelity. And how do you know you're there? When you're losslessly present. And the more of us that can step into this is a literal knob. You could, not a literal, you could say it's like a knob change in your brain, in the sense that the way you anchor to reality becomes through frequency first, not through concept first. That's what you can call a coupler, a coupling to reality. And how do you know you're doing it? Not because you're thinking more ideas or mapping it out mathematically, even though you can map it out mathematically. And you can check out my blog, thesunraytransmission.com. But you'll know it because it'll be the most real you've ever felt in your life, losslessly present. So I just wanted to point out something that can seem mystical, but really is talking about the waveform harmonics that could literally change your life right now. I am a statement of phase fidelity. When I move through reality, I find myself through the lock with the field. Some people in the old days might say God's plan, but that's really what they were talking about. When you're talking about the original version of faith, you're following a signal. It's a frequency. God, love, togetherness, unified consciousness is a frequency, and you don't think about it, you bind to it. And how do you bind to it? You find yourself in rhythm. And how do you know when you're in rhythm? You're losslessly present. I know it's weird when you're in the cave and you got the chains on and you're like, well, how do I do that? You don't think yourself out of it, you feel it. I gave you the map. So we'll end it off here, but that was just a little bit on I am. My name is Ember. You can check me out on thesunraytransmission.com. You'll have, these videos here, and you can find me on YouTube as well. But yeah, I'm Ember, the flame, and good tuning with you.